The woman on the witness stand didn't hesitate. She lifted her hand, pointed across the courtroom, right at the man sitting at the defense table. "That's the man who stole from me." Her voice was clear, steady, certain. The jurors watched her carefully, because confidence inside a courtroom can sound a lot like truth. The man she pointed at didn't react. He simply sat there, hands folded, eyes fixed on the wooden table in front of him. Because sometimes when everyone believes a story, you stop trying to interrupt it. Before we continue, subscribe to the Unheard Witness, because sometimes the truth hides in places no one thinks to check. The prosecutor stepped closer to the witness stand. "Please tell the court your name." "Rachel Mercer." "And how long have you known the defendant?" She glanced at him briefly. "About 4 years." The prosecutor nodded. "During that time, did you ever trust him with your finances?" "Yes." The courtroom leaned in. Because money has a way of turning ordinary arguments into criminal trials. The prosecutor continued. "Explain what happened." Rachel took a slow breath. "I discovered money missing from my savings account." "How much?" $42,000. A low murmur moved through the gallery. The prosecutor lifted a document. "Did you authorize any withdrawal of that amount?" "No." "Did anyone else have access to your account?" Rachel pointed again. "Him." The jurors looked toward the defense table. The man remained silent. The prosecutor continued. "You gave the defendant temporary access to your account?" "Yes." "Why?" Rachel sighed. "He said he needed to help manage a property investment." The prosecutor nodded. "And after that?" "I trusted him." Her voice tightened slightly, "until the money disappeared." The prosecutor walked toward the jury. "Bank records show the funds were transferred electronically." He raised the document again. "And the transfer was authorized through the defendant's access credentials." The jurors began writing notes, because numbers feel reliable. The prosecutor turned back to Rachel. "When you confronted him, what did he say?" Rachel looked down briefly. "He denied everything." The prosecutor nodded slowly. "Yes, gosh, and you reported the incident to the bank?" "Yes." "And then to the police?" "Yes." The prosecutor faced the jury again. The defendant had access. He tapped the financial report, and the money moved through his credentials. The courtroom buzzed quietly. The prosecutor sat down. "No further questions." The judge turned toward the defense table. "Counsel." The defense lawyer stood slowly. He walked toward the witness stand with calm steps. No raised voice, no dramatic gestures, just quiet questions waiting to be asked. "Miss Mercer," he said politely. "Yes." "You testified that $42,000 disappeared from your account." "Yes." "And you believe my client took it?" "Yes." The lawyer nodded. "Because he had access?" "Yes." The lawyer glanced down at his notes. Let's talk about that access." Rachel shifted slightly. "You gave him temporary login credentials." "Yes." "For how long?" "A few days." The lawyer raised an eyebrow. "Only a few days?" "Yes." "And during that time, he helped you review property investments?" "Yes." The lawyer nodded. "Did you ever change your password afterward?" Rachel hesitated. "I don't remember." The lawyer smiled politely. "That's understandable." He turned to the jury. "Many people forget to change passwords." A few jurors nodded. The lawyer turned back to Rachel. "You discovered the missing money weeks later?" "Yes." "About 3 weeks?" "Yes." The lawyer tapped his pen lightly. "So the transfer happened after your password was still active?" Rachel frowned. "I suppose." The lawyer took a step closer. When you checked your account that day, where were you? At home? On your laptop? Yes, the lawyer nodded. And you saw the transaction immediately? Yes. The lawyer paused, then asked quietly, did you contact the bank that same day? Rachel blinked. No. The lawyer lifted an eyebrow. You waited? Yes. How long? 2 days. The lawyer glanced at the jury. 2 days before reporting $42,000 missing. Rachel's voice tightened. I needed time to understand what happened. The lawyer nodded slowly. That makes sense. He returned to his table, picked up a thin folder. The prosecutor watched carefully now, because the calm questions had started to shift the room. The lawyer walked back toward the witness stand. Ms. Mercer, do you remember visiting your bank 3 days before the transfer? Rachel froze slightly. I visit the bank often. The lawyer nodded. Yes. But this visit is recorded. He lifted a document. A telelog. The prosecutor leaned forward. The lawyer continued. You requested assistance updating your online banking profile. Rachel swallowed. I might have. The lawyer nodded. Yes. You also requested a new verification device. Rachel looked confused. What device? The lawyer turned toward the judge. Your Honor, the defense requests the court review the bank authentication record. The judge nodded. Proceed. The lawyer handed a document to the bailiff. The bailiff carried it to the judge. The judge scanned the page, then looked up slowly. Counsel, this record shows something interesting. The courtroom quieted again. The lawyer waited. The judge read aloud. On the date in question, Ms. Mercer registered a second authentication token for her account. Rachel's face tightened. The prosecutor frowned. What does that mean? The lawyer answered calmly. It means the account could be accessed from 2 devices. The jurors leaned closer. The lawyer continued. One device was assigned to my client during the investment review. He paused. The second device was issued to Ms. Mercer. Rachel shook her head quickly. I don't remember that. The lawyer nodded. That's possible. Then he lifted another page. But the bank record remembers. The room grew still. The lawyer continued. The transfer of $42,000, he pointed to the transaction time, occurred from the second authentication device. The prosecutor stood quickly. That proves nothing. The lawyer interrupted gently. Actually, it proves something very specific. He turned toward the jury. The transfer was not made using my client's credentials. The courtroom murmured. The lawyer finished quietly. It was authorized from the device issued directly to Ms. Mercer. The room fell silent. Because, moments earlier, the entire courtroom believed her story, but the bank record had just revealed something she couldn't explain.